Hello, in this video lecture, I am trying to give you some understanding regarding the areas from which there is a high likelihood of questions to be asked. We have very little time and a lot of matter is to be covered, so we have to proceed in a systematic manner. For that, we have to have knowledge of areas which are very important from the exam point of view. Okay, English literature is a vast subject. We can't cover it in a matter of 90 to 100 days. But at the same time, if we plan our preparation in a systematic manner, if we focus only on such areas from which there is a high likelihood of questions to be asked, we can somehow crack AP set, K set, or UGC NET exams. In this lecture, I am going to show you certain areas from which there is likelihood of questions to be asked. First one is authorship. The thing is, it is not possible for any individual to remember the names of every English book and the author who wrote it. At the same time, what we can do is we can remember the authors, their names of certain important poems, dramas, and novels. The important thing about questions asked in exams is that they don't randomly ask who wrote this particular novel, poem, or drama. If they are asking you the name of the author of a particular work of art, there must be some reason behind. The work of art in question must have been the first work of the author or the last work or the masterpiece of that particular author. Or it might have generated some kind of sensation. That is why the authorship might have become important. Let me give you quite a few examples. For example, who wrote Robinson Crusoe? Robinson Crusoe was written by Daniel Defoe. This particular question is asked repeatedly because Robinson Crusoe happens to be the first novel in English literature. Who wrote the lyrical ballads? The lyrical ballads were written by Wordsworth and Coleridge. This question is again asked in different competitive exams because of the importance of lyrical ballads. The anthology called Lyrical Ballads started Romanticism in English literature. It was published in the year 1798. So, whenever the authorship is asked, it is asked for the reason related to that particular work of art and its significance in the lives of the authors and all. So just don't go on remembering the names of books and who wrote them. Remember only if there is some historical significance to the authorship. It's like that. It is how it works. Years of publication. Every year, thousands of poems, dramas, and novels are published in English literature. And it is humanly not possible to remember the year of publication of each and every book that comes out. So, questions regarding years of publication can be asked only if there is some significance to them. For example, again let me give you quite a few examples. When was the first folio of Shakespeare's plays published? The first folio of Shakespeare's plays was published in 1623. When was Milton's Areopagitica published? Milton's Areopagitica was published in the year 1644. It is very important because it speaks about the freedom of expression. Likewise, when was Robinson Crusoe published? Crusoe was published in the year 1719. This question is important because it happens to be the first novel in English literature. Next, when was Grace Elegy published? Grace Elegy, written in a country churchyard, was published in the year 1751. When was Dr. Johnson's Dictionary published? Dr. Johnson's Dictionary was published in the year 1755. In which year did Keats write all his famous odes? Keats wrote all his celebrated odes in the year 1819. When was the Lyrical Ballads published? The Lyrical Ballads were published in 1798. When was T.S. Eliot's Wasteland published? T.S. Eliot's Wasteland was published in the year 1922. So there must be some kind of reason for the year of publication to be asked. Like that. Next, subtitles. This particular area is often neglected by the aspirants, but here again we have to take note that in so many different competitive exams, subtitles are also prominently asked. For example, what is a subtitle? When a poem or a drama or a novel is written, it will automatically have a title to it. Sometimes the author may add a subtitle to it also. Here are the famous examples. Prelude, a poem by Wordsworth, is subtitled Growth of a Poet's Mind. Likewise, the famous novel Mayor of Casterbridge is subtitled The Man of Character. Felix Holt, a novel by George Eliot, is subtitled A Radical. Pamela is subtitled Virtue Rewarded. Shakespeare's famous drama Twelfth Night is subtitled What You Will. Like this, there are quite a number of poems, dramas and novels which have their own subtitles. The most famous absurd play, Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot, is subtitled A Tragic Comedy in Two Acts. So we have to remember the subtitles as well. Next is characters. We find certain immortal characters in dramas and novels. We can't remember each and every character that is there in literature, and at the same time, we have to make an endeavor to at least remember those characters which are lifelike. For example, Shakespeare has created quite a number of characters, from which the most prominent is Sir John Falstaff. Sir John Falstaff appears in two of his dramas. First one is Henry IV and The Merry Wives of Windsor. In both these plays, we find the character of Sir John Falstaff. Man Friday is a character from the celebrated novel Robinson Crusoe. Becky Sharp is another character from a novel called Vanity Fair, written by W.M. Thackeray. Little Nell is a character from Old Curiosity Shop. Mrs. Malaprop is a very famous character from Sheridan's play The Rivals. Then we have another character called Mephistopheles. Mephistopheles is a character from the play Dr. Faustus. So we find quite a number of such important characters. We have to remember them all. Next, inspiration. When a poet, dramatist, or a novelist writes his work of art, he might draw his inspiration from some other work of art. So it becomes very important for us to remember which work of art inspired the author to write this particular book or something like that. As we all know, Shakespeare's Hamlet is based on Kidd's play Spanish Tragedy. Kidd's Spanish Tragedy or Hieronymo is Mad Again inspired Shakespeare to write his play Hamlet. Golding's novel Lord of the Flies is based on R.M. Ballantyne's book The Coral Island. Pseudonyms. Pseudonyms are false names. Sometimes the author writes his books not on his original name but on false names. This might be because of different reasons. So pseudo means false and nym is name. For example, George Eliot was the pseudonym of Marianne Evans. Marianne Evans was her original name, but she wrote all her books under her fictitious name called George Eliot. Mark Twain was the pseudonym of Samuel Langhorne Clemens. In other words, Samuel Langhorne Clemens was the original name of Mark Twain. Eric Arthur Blair was the original name of George Orwell. Another important thing that we have to remember is George Eliot wrote under the name of George Eliot and not under the name of Marianne Evans because she thought nobody would come forward to read a novel written by a woman. So she took up a male name called George Eliot. It's like that. In this video, I have given you just a sample of areas from where questions are likely to be asked. Focus on these areas like authorship, years of publication, subtitles, pseudonyms and all. Most of the questions are from these areas only. And as you go on reading, and if you just have a glance through previous question papers, you can just guesstimate what kind of questions are regularly asked in competitive exams. Thank you.